Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Marriage is Tougher Than Woodpecker Lips podcast. This is Brian, joined by my co-host, Paul. We'd like to welcome you to a community meant for the men of the world to share their thoughts and perspectives on marriage. We can learn from each other's experiences and help each other be better husbands. This week on the pod, we want to talk to you about what does a man give back when he's not feeling appreciated? I think that topic tells you exactly what we're going to talk about, so I'm going to throw it over to Paul.
All right, and before we get all the way into the topic, we just want to encourage you to lean into community. That's Searching Marriage is Tougher on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, you can, if you'd like to be a guest, you can go to marriageisttougher.com. There's a contact form that we'd love for you to fill out to either give us feedback or to give us topic ideas, as well as, like I said, be a guest on the show. We really just want to create a place outside of the episodes where we as men can just talk about being married, being husbands, and the struggles that we come with. So that is the point of that. And if there's any value that you get from this episode, please don't hesitate to share. And again, reach out to us and let us know how we're doing. All right, let's hop into this episode.
So, are there times in your marriage that you've felt unappreciated like I have, and I would assume most other men have? I'll just leave it there. I'll just let you answer quick yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. I have a couple thoughts on this. One being you get what you give. And with that, I think many times in my situation, I haven't given what I should have been given. And then I don't pick up on it until I'm getting back what I've given. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't feel appreciated. Then I'm all up in my feelings about it. Also, I feel like as a man of God, I should be giving of myself intentionally, and I guess I want to say, like, really, no matter, in my marriage anyway, really no matter what I'm getting, and really fighting through that feeling of not being appreciated. I think we could start the conversation there.
Woo! Yes, to your last point, well, and to your first point, kind of when I feel underappreciated, then I'll run through all the things that I feel I'm not being appreciated for. Mm-hmm. And then I'll run through all the things that she's doing as well. And that helps me really gain perspective that it is a team aspect of things that we're doing. And as just like you said, then I run through how much have I been showing her appreciation. Because then I'm like, man, she probably feels underappreciated because I haven't said anything about this for like 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, now, should I say something or should I not? And then I talk myself. Then there's a whole nother thing for me to go about that way. So that is one thing that helps me, snaps me back into reality. Like, we're all busy. We're trying to get things done. We're, taking care of the house. We're working, like all those things. Mm-hmm. So the certain things that may be assigned to you, like for me, for example, right? Like I'm predominantly the one that takes out the dogs. And even when I'm not feeling good, even when it's early, when it's late, when we're both home, like I'm just the one that does it. And sometimes I feel like, man, like I'm taking these dogs out again. Like this is blah, right?
Yeah.
But then I think about, what she does, right? She's the one, she'll take them to the vet. She'll clip their nails. She'll, the little one, she'll wash and blow dry, and she brushes them out. Like I don't brush them out and all that stuff that you're supposed to do. Like I'll give the bigger one a bath because it's bigger, but so then there's all these things that may take, and then I think about, oh yeah, I'm doing the dogs, but like she's really up on game with all the kids stuff, like whatever they're into. She lets me know what's happening, and I just participate, right? So it's like this
Ah,
these things that like I don't always say, hey man, thanks for keeping up on Bella's schoolwork, or thanks for letting me know what Zay and Kiana are getting into and how they're feeling. But it's just something she does, and so then it's just like, man, like what is she doing that I'm missing? And so it really jolts me back, and then it usually brings me into like gratitude and like prayer of thanks for that and like all that, and by the end of it I've gotten myself out of the funk.
I got you. Yeah, that funk get funky, man.
Yeah.
Like when you're feeling salty, it is difficult to give all of yourself, right? And I found myself in that position quite a few times, right? It's you know, I wish that in that space it was. Well, I guess it is easier now, but when I first started out in my marriage, I wish it was easier for me to reflect internally first, right? Like,
Hmm.
what is my role in this? Like, why am I getting this back? Right? Like, what have I done to deserve this? Right? And I don't think we typically think that way initially. It's more or less like, man, you want to be like that? All right, well, you know
Which
what I
is in
mean?
essence what happened to why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Yes, because our spouse picked up on that, like, oh, heard you, yeah,
Yeah.
got you.
Uh huh. Yeah. Let's match that energy.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's
yeah, I mean, just out here trying to be better about it, Um, and it goes again to like some of the things that we talk about all the time. It's so different at work, right? Like as a manager, I know that I need to look at myself first, right? I hold all the accountability, right? If I'm not getting the result that I want, okay, have I made expectations clear? And then I'll review that first, right? And at home, it hasn't hadn't been the same. I've learned to make it the same, not necessarily the same, but similar. But it's about having those communications. Like, what are the expectations? Are they being met? Or do we need to have regular checkups on whether or not our expectations are still being met? Right? And what are our joint expectations?
man, expectations will get you for sure, especially
Uh,
non-communicated ones. I was thinking about something as you were talking. Is we've we've been working for so long, right? Like work has been, generally speaking, work has been a constant in our lives. So
mhm,
we've had these kind of failures, right, early on in our career, like realizing, oh, I need to communicate these expectations. I need to look at myself first. I need to look at all these things. That doesn't necessarily, I would say that's why it could be easier in the workspace because you've had more experience in the workspace, right? First of all, workspace, there's a plethora of people that you're working with. Your marriage is one person, right?
mhm.
And your marriage has so many other factors in that. While work, we can compartmentalize to this is just work, but like marriage is the rest of your life. And part of your at work life is like having to consider, what's going on at home with your spouse and if you have kids, that type of stuff. So that might be why it's so easy or easier at work. It's because we have more experience and we're further along in that journey of how to balance all that in the workspace. Uh, because sometimes we're not even enlightened that we need to do those things till we're 5, 10 years into our marriage, right? The sooner we pick up on it, the better. But so I think we need to not give ourselves a pass, but give
Right.
ourselves a reason. And now that we know, let's, like we said last time, know better, do better.
Yeah. And it's the reason I keep going there is just because I find it so uncanny how many skills I've developed in that arena that
Hmm.
can apply in my communications in my marriage, right? And how I guess the mindset shift from home to work, I walk through those doors and I'm instantly there, right? Just in a snap. I'm like, okay, I'm this person now. And then I go home, how am I not that person anymore? Right? Like I get that um we try to put work down and try to be more focused at home, but all of those things are still within me, right? All of those characteristics. So I feel like, why has it really taken me so long to start applying those things to my marriage?
That's such a good point. It is inside of us. I think sometimes when we try to leave work at work, we leave everything, or we try to, and we don't tap into those things that work everywhere else, which
Right.
are, like you said, inside. And at the same time, it's just something that's special about our wives, man. Because we'll pull out some things like that, like conflict resolution with our kids, no problem. Like, let's whip that
Ah,
out.
come on.
Boom, got it.
Stop. You just killed me.
Lessons learned. And then it's like, oh, but I'm not doing that with my wife. Like, it's like I need myself to take myself out and tell me those things. Like it's a third party. Like I need me to be my boss and the employee at the same time.
Oh
I need my
man.
boss
We're
version
That's
and
what it
my
is. We're
employee
not
version.
operating.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
We're ah, we're letting our wives take the operation role. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't. What I'm saying is we need to share more of it.
Yeah. We
And I
both
think
need
if
to
we
do that. Yeah.
right, right. And I think if we take that approach, like, okay, I'm an operator here. I'm not just looking to her for instruction. Like, what do you want from me? Okay, I'll do it. Are you happy
Right.
now?
Right. Uh that's a good point. Well, revelation for us. Maybe someone out there doesn't have that story and you can chime in. But that's a good point. Very good
Yeah,
point.
yeah. And I think this may also lean to the reason why our wives give us that look, that why haven't you made this decision yet? That look.
Hmm.
And it could be simple things like, or the I just want you to make this decision because I've been making all the decisions all day about the
Hmm.
family.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want to decide where to eat. And then we go into it like, why can't you just decide where to eat? I want you to have what you want. And she's probably
Yeah.
like, I'm done making decisions.
Right. Right. I'm surrendering my right to make decisions because I've been holding this together all day.
Yeah. Mm.
That's a good point about not operating. I mean, for sure. And that's for me personally, like my wife is in operations. So like, and I think you just said something that freed me up because yeah, she's operating all day. And I'm like, well, why don't you just keep operating? Like, you're amazing
Mm.
at it. Let's do this. And it's like, no, like maybe I don't want to work anymore. Like, just want to come home. And yeah, definitely need to partner with her more in that space.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. Okay. So let's think through this then. How do we come to our wives and have this conversation? Uh, in my mind, it kind of looks like, hey, I just had this revelation, right? This is what I think it is. I'd like your input on whether or not I'm right, and if I am right, where do we go from here, or where would you like me to adjust my actions in order for us to be more aligned, right? Or for us to share more of this responsibility you've been taking on. What would you add to that conversation, or the introduction to that conversation?
I don't think there does need to be anything added. I think that was
Okay.
very well said. Um, Consider all the things. Make sure you clearly say, "Hey, we've got this revelation," or "I have had this or I had this conversation, and this is what it is. Is this it?"
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
very strong to point that out. Like, this is what I think it is, and then being open for her to say, "No, it's not it," or "It's mostly there." And that's the whole point of the conversation, is to tweak it out and um, or hash it out and get with how do we move forward. Got to figure out that and make sure there's something measurable and also something that is more like that'll change your mind or keep your mind in the new shift, the new revelation that you have. Yeah.
Okay. And let's circle back around because we have a little bit of time here. What are the top three things that make you feel appreciated?
Make me feel appreciated.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Top three things, like top three things that I do, or top three things that she does that I feel appreciated.
That she does. How does she make you feel
Oh, okay,
appreciated?
gotcha. I think words are good, like acknowledging, like, "Hey, like I see you doing this."
Hmm.
That makes me feel okay, even if it's something tiny, like, "Oh, I see you zipped up your fleece today." Like, all right, babe, that's great. Um, top
Is that
three
a thing?
things. Um, but it's just it's just being seen, right? When you are so
Right.
busy and you're into things, and we do a lot of stuff together, but it's not necessarily like we don't necessarily comment on the things that we're doing together all the time. So anytime there is a acknowledgement, that makes me feel appreciated. Um, Really, any time out to talk through things. I know that might be weird, like even if it's like something that I may not have championed, right? And we have to talk through how I can do it better. That makes me feel appreciated because at least I know she cares and she's trying to help me be better. Um, and that might be a different take for some, but for me, it's it's great. And the third thing, any physical touch at all.
Hmm.
Makes me feel appreciated. So I will volley that back to you and
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
you.
So with your first point, I think it's the same for me. It's the words, right? A simple thank you for doing this or that. Being seen in that way really means a lot to me. And I think for sure I've discussed this on the pod before. This is probably going through counseling is when I really figured out how much that actually meant to me. Right, just hearing that. Like I think when I was in that space of counseling and came to that realization, like there was this huge weight lifted off my shoulders that just I think just for the fact that I was able to get that off my chest, that I needed that. All right. Number two for me, I think is I want to say probably somewhere in the form of a gift of some sort, or um, the the well, I think it's two different things, but for me, it's kind of on the same level, like that gift or physical touch are kind of the same for me. Not the same, but like on the same level.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the third thing is being being given some of my time back. All right, and I'll explain that. Right, so if she sees that like I need a break and is like, hey, I already took care of this. Why don't you go just like chill with the kids or something like that? Or is there anything you'd like to do? Right? Do you want to go golf this weekend or something like that? That is how I also feel very much appreciated. Now, to flip the script, and we touched on it already, but these are the ways we have now expressed that we feel appreciated. Are we doing those same things to make her feel appreciated, or are we going out of our way to identify what it is that makes her feel appreciated?
That's a setup, bro.
I know it was a trap.
And it's a good thought experiment.
Yeah, we don't need to answer that. It's a thought experiment. So as you think through, fellas, man, maybe I haven't really put too much thought into what makes me feel appreciated. If you, we challenge you to do that, and then also express that to your wife. You know, it'll be it will be beneficial because then she will know specifically how to give you what you want and what you need.
Yeah, I think that was good because it's, right? Because you can run around thinking, man, I don't feel appreciated. And she may be showing you appreciation in the way that she likes to receive appreciation, but it doesn't
Right.
hit the same because that's not how you like it. So she may, be acts of service. So she's, whipping up meals or, doing certain things for you. And you don't understand that that's her way of trying to show you because you just want to hear her say, good job. And I see you. But she never says that. But she's like, man, I got your clothes are done, your food's ready. I even took your car through the car wash, like just things like that that are, wonderful things, but you don't know. So being able to express it to her and then ask her, just verify, like, how do you like to feel appreciated? So I can make sure that I'm making you feel appreciated. That's a great point.
Yeah. And we're pretty much up on time, but there's one last, I guess, question slash point I want to make. So I'm just going to throw that out there. Uh, does the way we feel appreciated change? Right. So as our seasons change, as we age, I think that a good reflective thought as well is to maybe continue to ask this question, right? Um, because I feel like that can change, and especially if we are getting used to being or feeling fulfilled in appreciation, and it is has been so consistent over time, it has now just become what we expect. Do we maybe start to lose sight of, oh, this is what I asked for to feel appreciated, but maybe now that I have grown, I might be looking for a new expectation and appreciation.
I agree. Different times in your life can change how you feel appreciated for sure. So that's a great point to end on. Um, so if nothing else, we appreciate you making it all the way through the episode with us. If it impacted you anyway, please share it with someone. Um, like it or rate it on wherever you're listening or wherever you're seeing us. We'd really appreciate it just to help other people be a part of this conversation. Again, search Marriage is Tougher on all social media platforms and go to marriagestougher.com to be a guest or if you have any direct feedback that you want us to get. We appreciate you and we will chat with you next time.
Peace.